Hello, everyone, and welcome to the program Business Point on Global Television. I am Samuel Odi. Many thanks for joining us as we x-ray and talk business today. We'll be focusing majorly today on tax. Yes, state tax, VAT tax, and the chairman of the committee set by president on tax policies has a lot to say. But before we get into that conversation, hopefully we have a guest who will be joining us virtually, who will help us x-ray most of the major talking points around taxation and states, why states are not supposed to, be the one collecting VAT and all of that conversation. We'll be having that, and also we'll be looking at Mr. President's speech around the Middle East, where he encouraged for peace to happen, to reign between Israel and Pakistan, and as well as the Middle East generally, so as to curb out the series of global economic down that we're facing at this point. Also, we'll be having a conversation around the Naira and dollar, as well as also having conversations around cryptocurrency, given the fact that Bitcoin, or would I say the month of November, is a bull run for coins, all coins to be particular, even the ones that were listed earlier on actually didn't do so well, now are gaining momentum because it's a bull run for the cryptocurrency. Let's start from the home front with Mr. President Bola Tinubu assures his Middle East counterpart in Saudi Arabia that Nigeria will continue to support international efforts and advance peace and stability in the Middle East. The president made this statement at the Arab Islamic Summit, according to the press release by Bayo Ononuga, special advisor to the president. The summit was organized for stakeholders to discuss current situation in the Middle East, particularly focusing on humanitarian crisis in Gaza and Palestine, following the ongoing conflict between Israel and Hamas. You can all agree with me that the current war going on in the Middle East has caused a whole lot of problems. President Bola Tinubu called for an end to the war in Gaza, warning that the conflict in Palestine has persisted for far too long, inflicting and causing immeasurable suffering on the global stage. He reiterated Nigeria's call for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza, affirming the country's support for a two-state solution where both Israeli and Palestine can coexist in security and dignity. So, with all of this, if we get to see, Nigeria has the trade relationship between all of this nation, and if we continue with all of the war happening, is biting hard on every sector, and then we hope that all of this will be resolved soon, as the year comes to an end, as we get into the new year 2025. We hope to see that all of this war going on between Israel and then Ukraine and Russia as well will be able to get down to its minimum. Moving away from the speech of Mr. President, let's have a conversation around the forecast of Nigerian Naira. Okay, currently Nigerian Naira to a dollar is around 1,673 Naira in the open market. But listen, it has been forecasted that Nigerian Naira is going to depreciate more to 1,993 Naira against the US dollar by 2028. Now, all of this conversation and all of this is being stated because of the fact that we have Donald Trump as the current president, who is more focused on immigration law and buy America and also use America. So we'll definitely have a conversation around those lights because of the policies of Donald Trump. Looking at that and moving away, still on that, posing a significant challenge to Nigerian pharmaceutical industry, particularly in the importing essential medical devices. A new report by FinTech Solutions subsidiary has revealed in the report titled Weak Naira for Structural Change to Constrain Nigerians' Medical Service Market Growth, PMM project. Despite an anticipated rebound in the economy, Nigeria's medical device sector will face operational and demand challenge in the near term. The report noted that Nigerian relies on imports for over 95% of its medical devices, making it vulnerable to fluctuation in exchange rates. Continued weakness of the naira will increase medical device import costs and curb consumer purchase power. Similarly to other markets in sub-Saharan Africa, Nigeria heavily relies on medical device imports with resilience of over 95%. So things need to be done. Lots of production needs to be going on within Nigeria locally. Local production needs to be going on as we would be able to maintain a business cap so that Nigerian naira would also gain momentum. The partnership, Nigeria joining on the BRICS nation as partners now has been an avenue, and we're hoping that we would soon start getting the benefit of that partnership, given the fact that we noticed in the first week of Nigeria joining the BRICS nation as member countries, or partner countries rather, we witnessed a little bit of spike, and then we witnessed a little bit of bull run, and then the gain of the naira against the dollar. But currently we're witnessing a dip. So with the year coming to an end and new policies coming up, Nigeria is looking to rebound. Nigerian naira is looking to rebound. But with the policies now of President Donald Trump, we are going to look at how that is going to affect Nigerian economy, yes, on a different note. We would also look at those angles because there are factors in line with the U.S. policies, and the trade relations that Nigeria and U.S. have is also going to play a massive role to help boost the Nigerian naira. Let me bring you up to speed with the fact that earlier during this administration, the naira was floated so as it would be able to contend. But since then, we've been witnessing a dip and a little bit above 0.50% increment or gain from the naira against the dollar. So with all of these effects now happening, soon we are expected to see the naira rebound and gain more momentum in the parallel market. Let's still have conversations around market capitalization, as the market capitalization hits 59 trillion naira. The Nigerian all-share index ended in the trading day on a positive trajectory, gaining 137.75 points to close at 97,373.94, maintaining a solid hold above the 97,000 points benchmark, despite a notable dip in the overall market activities. So this is a rebound from the markets. Last week we witnessed a whole lot of dip, given the fact that a whole lot of investors moved away and sold most of their stocks. But now this week we are witnessing a swift growth and a swift rebound in the all-share index. The index posted a modest 0.14% gain from the previous season, signaling a steady recovery from last week's dip to 96,800 points range. However, trading volumes fell sharply by 37.69%, with 297 million shares traded across 99,902 deals, compared to 477 million in the prior section. Nevertheless, the market's resilience was underscored by the uptick in capitalization, which advanced to a robust 59 trillion naira gain. So looking at the market summary, the current all-share index is at 97,373.94 points. Previous was at 97,236.19 points, and the day change was at 0.14%. The year-to-date performance was at plus 30.22%. Volume traded was at 297 million shares, and the total deal that was traded on was 9,902 deals were the total shares that were traded. Looking at those angles now, we can see how swift and how quick the market was able to rebound. The policies of Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is actually looking good, but on the long term now, we are going to benefit more. But he, like the president always says, he said he understands and feels the pain of Nigerians, but with all of this happening, we are expected to see a very good reform, but it's looking good. Now, what happens as this trajectory keeps happening? The year is coming to an end. A few persons would be wanting to pull out from their investment, and some will want to also invest more for a long-term basis. So if that continues, we get to see a whole lot of investment and a whole lot of shares being traded and deals being, traded as well. So we would be able to see the Naira and as well the OSHA index keep getting spiked up, and then luckily and hopefully we'll be able to have a very good GDP, and then we are going to reach our 2024 benchmark for our set goal for the GDP growth. We'll be going on a quick break, and then when we return back, we'll be having conversations around tax reform bills that has been in the State House, and a whole lot of individuals, governors, and have reacted separately and differently towards all of the bills that has been set by Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Don't go nowhere, we'll be right back. Business Point on Global Television.
The business world can be dynamic and unpredictable, with headwinds and volatility sometimes becoming an obstacle for players in the business and economy landscape. Watch Business Point on Global Television as Samuel Odi walks you through the twists, turns and curves in bonds, stocks and crucial market indices from a global standpoint. Watch Business Point weekdays on Global Television at 11 a.m. West African time. Business Point. This is business.
Yes, many thanks for staying with us. Now let's have the conversation around tax and those earning minimum wage. You know, it has been said, like, a tax, part of the committee set aside by the president, have said you would pay as you earn, right? So Nigerians have reacted differently. But now the chairman, the chairman of the Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform Committee, Taiwo Oyedele, has this to say for those paying earning minimum wage and below, or a little bit higher than minimum wage. Chairman of the Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform Committee, Taiwo Oyedele, has said that Nigerians earning minimum wage and slightly above will be exempted from the pay-as-you-earn tax once the tax reform bill are being signed into law. Yes, the tax reform bill is still not yet signed because some state governors are not agreeing, and a whole lot of analysts have also, kicked against it, saying Mr. President should do something and, make some changes in line with the tax bills that he sends to the State House. But the president, on the other hand, said if there's any change that needs to be made, the House of Representatives, the Senate House would be able to do that. Looking at those angles now, still on what Taiwo Oyedele had to say, he stated this while addressing journalists on the bill as part of the move to sanitize Nigerians to the proposed tax laws that has continued to draw criticism in some parts of the country. Recall that President Bola Tinubu in July this year approved the new national minimum wage of 70,000 naira for workers, pushing it up from 30,000 naira. Still, Nigerian workers and some individuals are still complaining that this new minimum wage is not being paid yet. Even the NYS, the COP members too, are also complaining about the fact that they are yet to start receiving the 70,000 naira new minimum wage. Though the government have actually said that they would backdate when they want to start paying. So hopefully when everything is set and the I's are dotted and then the T's are crossed, then the payments will start rolling in. In addition, Oyedele stated that Nigerians earning around 1.7 million or less would pay reduced tax under the proposed law, answering questions of whether workers will pay more tax under the proposed law. Oyedele said individuals earning about 1.7 million or less per month will pay lower pay-as-you-earn tax, while those earning the new minimum wage will slightly more will be fully exempted. So the current tax regime, while noting the current taxable income bands and rates were introduced in the year 2011, where Oyedele said due to the lack of review and structure has resulted in the fiscal drag, where many low-income earners have been pushed to the top bucket over time due to high inflation. He added that the system also discourages formalization, given that the tax rate on companies is nearly double that of the enterprise, which also encourage arbitrage in many cases. According to him, the proposed law seeks to address these issues and simplify the system by eliminating various reliefs and allowances while adjusting the bands and rates to achieve an overall lower effective tax rate for workers. He said, would ensure that an individual with basic education would be able to file their tax return without any assistance on the exemption for minimum wage earners and reduction of tax for low-income earners. Oyedele had this mentioned during the conversation he had with journalists. Still talking about tax, the new tax bills to eliminate all state consumption taxes except VAT. So the chairman of the presidential seal, Tayo Oyedele, stated that the proposed tax reform bill will eliminate all subnational consumption levies except for the valued added tax. Oyedele noted that the new bill aimed to resolve certain complexity in the existing tax laws, addressing the controversy surrounding the diversion model for VAT allocation to states. Oyedele assured that no state would be left out a disadvantage. He explained that the law provides for a 5% allocation dedicated to equalization transfer to compensate states that might collect less under the diversion model. Imposition of parallel consumption tax in some states, along with VAT, which increases the tax burden on people and contributes to a multiplied taxation. The reform seeks the discontinuation of all consumption tax and other than VAT. So the controversy has risen from the precision that the proposed formula would lead to a lower revenue for some states. However, the 5% to be recorded by the federal government can be set aside for equalization transfer to cater for any shortfall at the states under the new model. This ensures that no state is worse off in the short term while significantly enhancing economic activities and revenue for all states in the medium rather to long-term goals. Oyedele had this stated. And then the most things and the basic things that you all seated at home should know about all of these taxes that the new tax bill is currently under consideration in the National Assembly, proposed for diversion principle in the allocation of VAT revenues between the federal government and subnational entities. This bill has sparked controversy with northern elites outrightly rejecting them on the grounds that they may not benefit that all of the bills may not benefit their region under the existing law of subsection 40 of the VAT Act, that is the Value Added Act, that VAT revenue is distributed as follows: 15% to the federal government, 50% to the state and federal capital territory, FCT, and 35% to the local governments. The allocation to the state and local governments in cooperation to diversify principles of at least 20%, although not explicitly stated that the VAT Act additional functions influencing the distribution include 50% based on equality quality rather, and 30% based on population. Furthermore, 4% of collection are allocated to the Federal Inland Revenue Service as a collection fee, while 2% goes to the Nigerian Customs Service for importation and VAT. So all of this is how it has been broken down. This is what has been said in law, and this is what have been passed. So with all of this now, state governments and northern elites have actually reacted. But still on the lighter note, this bill is still yet to be signed. But if it gets signed, those aforementioned are the ways that there's the VAT allocation and then would be passed through, you know, from the federal government to the states, from the state to the local government, and then to every other sector that requires or that seems like it's supposed to be on the list of receiving from those ends. So that is it, but that's if it gets signed, because now it has been a whole back and forth going on within that policy, and hopefully if it gets amended, and looking at it and looking at the current inflation rates and the taxing of Nigeria now at this point, they've actually reacted a whole lot of ways negatively. Basically, the reaction from Nigerians and the northern elites, as you can see, have been actually negative because of the current high cost of living. The gas, petrol price is on a high, though on a lighter note, the landing cost now has been reduced to 971 naira from 990 naira. So hopefully we are going to expect to see a slight change in the pump price of premium motor spirit, popularly known as petrol. So if we see that, hopefully the cost of things in the market as well will drop. But still, Nigerians will say we have a dollarized economy. Most of the times, importation also contributes to the high cost of living. So if all of this does continue happening, that is the naira not rebounding and gaining momentum against the dollar, things will keep getting high. Another angle to this concern, to this whole challenge, is the fact that the North has been hit so much, and then they feel that they are really not going to benefit from all of these tax laws. And the fact that the chairman, Taiwo Oyedele, has also mentioned that most states would be able to be collecting VAT is actually going to be paid straight to the federation accounts. That's what Oyedele had to mention. Still, the Northern elite have also reacted to that. But we would have lots of conversations around this light on the best approaches that this would take, so as everybody is going to benefit, both the states, the Federal Capital Territory, the local government, the Federal Inland Revenue, and the Nigerian Customs. I'm sure there's definitely going to be a balance by the time the Senate take a very deep look at the bill that was sent by Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and also the committee, the Fiscal Policy Committee that was set by Mr. President to be able to see to all of these tax laws and initiating them and passing them into law. All of those angles will be looked into, hopefully by the Senate, and then see what's deemed appropriate for Nigerians to enjoy. Moving away from tax and taxation generally, let's have a conversation around Bitcoin and cryptocurrency generally. The current price of Bitcoin now is at 89,135.61 cents. Yes, Bitcoin values in dollars reflects to the dynamic nature of cryptocurrency markets. Investors and enthusiasts closely monitoring those fluctuations to make information decision regarding buying, selling, or holding Bitcoin. The price of Bitcoin fluctuates consistently due to various factors such as market demand, investor sentiment, regulation change, and microeconomic trends. The crypto community closely monitors this fluctuation as Bitcoin remains a prominent player in the financial landscape. Yes, we all know that Bitcoin has been around for a very, very long time, since the year, I think, 2008, 2009, fast forward to 2024, Bitcoin is around 89,000 US dollars. Though the price, it might have gone up to maybe around 90,000 or probably depreciated, but as at this time, as I'm bringing you live updates, is at 89,000 US dollars. Looking at it, this is a bull run. The month of November is a bullish run, is a month where cryptocurrencies get to spike up and then get up sticks. So it's a bull run for cryptocurrencies in this month. So looking at those angles now, every other cryptocurrency beneath Bitcoin is also doing so well. Mind you, Bitcoin was projected to hit $100,000 between January 1st of January 2024 to the 31st of December 2024. That's within the month, within the spread time of 365 days. They expected the Bitcoin to hit $100,000. So looking at those angles now, and the current price of BTC as we speak, today is just the 12th of November. There's a high chance that that mark is going to be hit. So now, looking at the fluctuation and monitoring the markets, Bitcoin is actually on a very bullish run as we speak, and I think it's time for people. If you can hoard a little. When it spikes a little more, you can then sell. But if you want to sell at this point, you can still sell. But for it to dip from the forecast that we have seen so far and analysis that we've seen, yes, Bitcoin is going to be deep at some point in the month of November. Yes, it's obviously going to dip, but immediately after that, it's also going to spike up like days or few hours later. So you just keep monitoring and seeing how it's going. Hamster and some communities that lost over 200 million subscribers to their community due to the fact that the coin dipped. Now most of those coins are gaining momentum, and it's beginning to do so well in this month of November. So that's that on currencies, and that's how much time will permit us to take on today's edition of Business Points. And given the fact of some technical issues from the end of our guests, we couldn't have the depth conversation that we hoped to have today. But we'll bring you other exciting, conversations around the world of business as I see you all tomorrow. My name is Samuel Odi. Many thanks for joining on today's edition of Business Point. Bye for now.